Well, it's brew day, and today I'm making another small batch on the kitchen stove, and today's recipe I lifted directly from the guys over at Basic Brewing Video.
I'm James. And I'm Steve. And today we're making a small batch. Small batch was my nickname in high school. A small batch fruitcake barleywine.
Let's take a look at the recipe. It has 8 pounds of pale malt, 4 ounces of caramel malt, 90 Lovibond. It has invert sugar. Now the original recipe called for brown sugar and molasses. I'm substituting this invert sugar number 3. It also has, get this, ginger, crystallized ginger, cinnamon powder, nutmeg, clove, ground cloves, and also mango and pineapple candied fruit. So this is a fruit cake barley wine. Okay, I've got a little more than 8 pounds of grain here, going into 4 gallons of water for a mash. And I'm overflowing the kettle. Alright, it took out about half a gallon of water here because this was right to the brim. I've stirred my mash and I'm a little bit low. I was targeting 150 degrees. I got 146.8. Not terribly low. And if you're going to miss your mash temperature, I'd rather miss it low so you can gently rise it than to miss too high. About 149 now, so I'm real close to my 150. I want to reach that exactly because I do tend to lose some temperature fairly quickly with this uninsulated, very thin-walled stainless steel stock pot. This is just a regular kitchen stock pot. It's pretty thin material, so it doesn't hold heat well. What I do is I check every 15 minutes during the hour-long mash and turn on the heat and stir if necessary, and it's almost always necessary every 15 minutes or so to do an adjustment. But that's not a big deal because I'm in the house, I'm right here, I'm not far away. So it works. Nope. Well, it seems like every brew day I either do something stupid or something goes wrong. Today I did something stupid. I checked my mash temperature. It was about a degree or 2 low, so I stirred the mash after turning the heat on, brought it back up to temperature, and I set another timer for 15 minutes, at which time I was going to check it again and add more heat if necessary. So I sat down to the computer to work on the recipe, design a little bit more, and I forgot to turn the heat off. By the time I figured it out, the mash was up to 170 degrees. The enzymes were all denatured by that point. No reason to keep on going. So, fortunately, I had been mashing for over 30 minutes. And the conversion of starches was pretty much done by that point. Maybe not totally, but good enough for me to stop and see what I got here. Marshall Schott at Brewing.com often does short and shoddy recipes with a 20-minute mash. I got in 35, maybe 40. So I'm going to cross my fingers and hope for the best. I'm taking a refractometer reading here and I'm just a hair over 17. I'll call it 17. I already did the calculations. That translates to about 1068, which is pretty good. It's about where I'm supposed to be on my pre-boil gravity, so I don't think a shortened mash has really hurt me that much. Alright, I believe it was Glenn Fry who said the heat is on. One of those eagles. So the boil has begun, and my first and only hop addition is a 1/4 ounce of Magnum That's all it takes right there. And that's the last traditional step in this brew day. From now on, I'm entering uncharted waters and using ingredients I've never used before, so stand by. Alright, I've been boiling for 30 minutes and I promised some non-traditional ingredients, but we're still not there yet. I'm supposed to add brown sugar and molasses according to the basic brewing guys, but I'm going to substitute something I'm familiar with, and that's invert sugar. I use this quite a lot in my English recipes. I package these in 1 pound containers. A pint mason jar holds 1 pound very nicely. I'm going to kind of eyeball this and try to get half of it out. Half a pound of invert sugar. Maybe get a spoon. Let's try a spoon. If I had been smart, I would have had this sitting in a little container of water on the stove, heating up. Because as you see, it's quite thick. And I'll call this good right here. It's really a pretty ruby red, dark ruby red color. And it has a slightly sweet, slightly caramelly, sweet molasses flavor to it. But it's unlike any of those. Just put and stir it in. And I'll go reset my timer. Alright, there's the timer for my next step, and that is to add 6 ounces of candied pineapple and 6 ounces of candied mango. And the last set of ingredients to go with 5 minutes left in the boil are spices. There's the timer. 1 teaspoon of ground cloves. 1 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. One teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And 1 teaspoon of supposed to be ground ginger. For some reason I picked up crystallized. But it should work out. There we go. That's it. In 5 minutes, we turn off the flame and we begin cooling. Alright, there we go. Another small batch. This is a fruitcake barley wine. I'm going to put it downstairs, start fermenting, probably get about 18 bottles out of this when I get ready to package it. I'm discovering that brewing this way, small batches take just as long as a 5-gallon batch. So the next time I'm going to try something different and do some fast brewing, speed brewing, or short and shoddy brewing, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to try to cut corners and cut the time in half at least, down to 2.5 hours instead of 4 to 5. So that's next on the agenda. Something I I didn't anticipate.